Into the ropes and off. A flying tackle by and a drop kick.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Got to hold this just a minute. You want a little bit more?
I'm a real heavyweight champion.
Gotta be the best of me. More to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the 10 pounds of gold championship. As existed in a certain Crockett.
That canvas pretty hard, and look at Buddy going to work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Welcome to another episode of TEW 2020, Billy Corgan's NWA. And sorry for a bit of a delay for those who are watching live. I know last week I didn't put out anything. My notoriously bad scheduling has occurred, but I kind of took a little bit of a week off just to recharge, and I am off of work for this whole week, so expect probably a few more episodes than normal coming out, trickling out of the woodwork for this week into next week, as we kind of get going and getting forward with the show. So, what is going on here today? Well, it is time for the Great American Bash. We have it in 4 days, just right around the corner. I just need to make sure before we get in there that there's not going to be any scheduling issues, because we have time to adjust it if we need to. But not if we get in there at the last minute. So no, the only thing is Hollow Wicked is working Chikara, which is fine because he's not there. We still have them on the roster. A lot of them were set for 3-month deals that are going to be expiring. We were talking about doing a sort of a losers bracket, so we're probably going to keep them around. And we start the losers bracket on Power in 6 days. It might just be a pre-show, honestly. I don't know. One of the things that kind of sucked about the tournament, as cool as it was to get through with it, is that a lot of the storylines within 1 hour kind of went to the back seat. So I don't want the losers bracket to make a big impact on the storytelling of the main show. But we got a big show ahead, right? We got a lot of story beats that are all kind of converging together. So there's definitely some interesting elements that we still got going on in Great American Bash, despite the fact that the tournament really took a lot of the limelight, I suppose, of the NWA. From that tournament, obviously, Contra Unit has won, and they are going to be facing the Von Erichs. One of the things I realized, and it was very odd, is that, one, we didn't hire him, but Kevin Von Erich wasn't originally in this save, which is really odd to me. So I have a negotiation for him. I think I'm going to bring him in as a manager. I was hoping to bring him in time for the Great American Bash to potentially watch his children get bashed in, but we might not get him in at that point. Also, very odd. I keep on noticing, and obviously this is the problem with having started these saves so early, things get caught to the wayside. The Von Erichs did not have a family relationship, so I added that in. Very odd. Something to keep an eye out for as you are playing through these mods is that sometimes, because it's so early in the 2020 cycle here for this game, that some of these little things got caught to the wayside. So if you see them, if you spot them while we're playing, let me know, because it's very easy to change that in the editor. Some things not so much, but that, not too big of a deal. So nothing else in the backstage of things that we had to deal with. So let's just go ahead and sim on over to Great American Bash. Hopefully we can get Kevin Von Erich in. Looks like Jinder Mahal, his contract is running up. What would it take for negotiation there? What's your rival offer? Okay. I don't think I can do 59,000 a month. There's a fan in our Discord that's screaming at the screen right now to try. I can make an offer, but yeah, I don't think that's really gonna go anywhere. So, sorry, buddy. But Jinder Mahal is probably going back to WWE but he was out there. Oh, man. I think we had him on a short list, which is why it showed up on there. Ace Austin fully fit. And we are pretty much ready to go. So we still have these final broadcasts. We're probably going to end up going to MAV TV, but we're going to wait until after doing this episode, Great American Bash here for the pay-per-view, because I want to see if we can get any little juice out in terms of our popularity to maybe get a better deal on our negotiation. But we're going to have to go to, I think terrestrial is going to be our best option. And right now, the only place that really fit was MAV. So we'll look at that probably after this pay-per-view. And we're going to have to probably get that contract going. And we'll hopefully we will be making money. Right now, we're making a decent amount, very small but steady growth, which is a lot of that has to do really just from 2020's reconfiguring of the negotiation system and making the salaries a little bit more reasonable. I feel like written contracts are broken, but I don't know. It's hard to tell. It might just be broken in the idea of doing a one show a week because it doesn't feel like you're making your money back. But I guess if you're doing constant house shows and stuff like that, it makes sense. And maybe I just have to kind of get that in my brain that it's not, not just working one a week. It's working 5 days a week. Right now we're working 1 day a week here, right? So definitely not worth it for us if even anyone wanted to do a written contract. But if we were doing a bunch of house shows to boost up popularity, that certainly might be a change in the revenue. So let's get to the show. So we only have 2 pre-booked segments, which is fine. We are not at a point where we will get a penalty for not pre-booking, just if we don't have these matches. Still something I have to get used to. It's something I might just get rid of, but I kind of like the idea of having to book ahead. And I kind of want to play around and see how it affects us. So for now, we'll keep it on there. No backstage incidents, surprisingly, which is cool. We can do a locker room control. We have not enough for an open forum, which is nice. So now it's just about meddling. We're pulling a rib. We got a lot of positive relationships here. Let's see. Ace also has relaxed. I do like this. I know I mentioned this last time, is that it giving us a kind of not a percentage, but like an extremely likely, that kind of thing. It gives us a little bit of an idea. I don't think you're going to get anything from Pillman. Let's see if there's anybody that we want to try. Eddie Kingston's personality. Intense. Probably not going to get us much. Cade? Cade's got unpredictable. Kevin Von Erich does not have a defined personality trait. Well, we would just might not get anything here. What? Extremely unlikely. Like, I kind of want to get someone to have a positive, extremely high chance of failing. Oh, we'll try it. No effect. Unfortunately, a lot of our people are driven and stuff like that are just not set up to be mentors. So that's just kind of our problem. We have to set our broadcaster, which will be Fight TV. Minimum quality is only at 24, and we're getting 50% of our revenue, which is not too bad. Like, we might stay with Fight, even though they're so tiny, just because of that. But we'll have to take a look at it. The tiny, though, element does hurt us. Okay. So now we just have to film the show. I think we're going to be, what are we looking at here? 1,500 fans in attendance. So, pick best option. Metroplex Live is where we're going to be actually filming this. Not too bad. It's going to be exactly 1,500 people, and it's $1,000 to be in Kansas, which is a little bit outside of our region of Georgia, but not too bad for Arkansas. Oh, it's actually Arkansas, not Kansas. So kind of still within our region. A little unrealistic because we really probably would be still filming out of Georgia, but we don't want to lose that gate, so we're definitely going to try to keep that there. I think that sounds fine to me, unless there's a better place in Alabama, which I doubt. Everything way too big. Yeah, so we'll stick with the Metroplex. That's fine with me. Still keeps within our area, which is what we want. Actually, wrestling industry is growing in that area too, which is nice. All right, let us film Great American Bash. Let's see what we can do. We got a lot of storylines to wrap up in here, so let's go ahead and get on with it. All right, guys, we are ready. Big old show, 16 segments, full 150 minutes. Could have probably done more, but we are pretty much ready to go. We do have some warnings that we'll have to deal with, I think, after the fact, but it's how I'm booking, so damn it, I'm going to do it. But let's get into Great American Bash. So we start the show with just a quick preview video, just hyping up the show. The main focus being Brody Lee and Miroslav being the main event. We got Big Miro and Brody Lee for the title. So we will have to see how that goes. That is obviously our main event for the night, and it gets us a segment bonus of a 55, which is not too bad of a way to start the show here. Again, we're looking for anything above 50 just to kind of grow our production. So if we end the show with a 50 plus, then we are in golden, pretty much. That might as well be an A for us. We start the show with what we're calling the Great NWA Great Bash. So just a random battle royal. Honestly, it's really just there to boost the crowd a little bit, get some of our lower cards something to do so they don't feel upset that they weren't on the show. And we also introduced just some freestyle or free agents a little bit. Some people that were in the tag team scene as kind of tag team members that got just the opportunity to be in the battle royal. So it's a pretty poor match, but actually overall the segment goes pretty okay. We had Caleb Conley, Hollow Wicked Connor, Royce Isaacs, Big Sean Studd debuting, Ty Ray, Victor, Warhorse, Wheeler Yuta, and Zicky Dice. So kind of a whole mix of our undercard mixed with a couple few select appearances from the Crockett Cup. Ultimately, Wheeler Yuta won the Battle Royal in 10 minutes. The final four were Warhorse, Zicky Dice, and Connor, with Warhorse being the final elimination. And Sean Studd debuting gets the most eliminations over the course of the match. A lot of these guys were really off their game, unfortunately. Sean Studd got an initial reaction of great for his gimmick, did get the crowd hotter, and a 44 for our first match. I really can't complain. That's pretty okay. And ultimately, we use this as a vehicle to just give Wheeler a bit of a win, as sort of our blue chip prospect. As well as debut Sean Studd in a big way and give him those eliminations to kind of make him a bit of a credible threat going forward. We have Thought Crimes versus Marty Bell and Allison Kay. No real story in this other than Madison Eagle and Nicole Matthews kind of teaming up against the women's division. The match kind of sucks, honestly. Most of that's Allison Kay and Marty Bell. We probably need to scout and look for some better female talent. We got a few people here and there, but we need to kind of build a little bit stronger. I'm feeling like we have AEW levels of women's division talent right now, which is not great just because there's not much that we can book with it. And I want to do a little bit more with their division. Ultimately, though, Madison Eagles and Nicole Matthews defeat them. Madison Eagles gets the pin. Marty Bell was just a weak link struggling to keep up in the performance, and it got us a 27th. It did not do very well. Another just sort of anything match, just to make sure people were on the card. We had which is a 9-man tag match, which is just ridiculous. We have the boardroom fighting Marty Scurll and his villains for hire. I forgot I even had Marty. I thought I got rid of him, which we probably will. This might be his last match. I just really, even outside of the real life drama going on with allegations and things like that, I just don't really have a place for him right now, honestly. So I think we're going to Twilight him out unless I come up with something ingenious. But he served his purpose early on with the villains. But now that we transitioned Nick Aldis into sort of the boardroom and having his own stable, I don't really think we need Marty and even the villains anymore. I probably might keep the villains, but I don't know if we need Marty. A singles competitor for that stable is just not needed. And then just sort of a mixed bag of nonsense here. We got Matt Cross, Jason Cade, and Austin Gunn, just here to fill out the roster a little bit, just to give them some opportunity, something to do. This match is all right. It's not great. It's a 43 though. It's it could be worse. The boardroom do defeat all of them. Final elimination was Matt Cross, Jason Cade, and Austin Gunn, and then Marty Scurll and Villains for Hire. So it was like an elimination team match. It's a pretty quick show. It's only 9 minutes, so it was a real blitz of a match. Any standouts? Not really. Nick Aldis was obviously the highest. Actually, Marty Scurll was actually the highest. Matt Cross. So actually, Nick Aldis actually was only third. Matt Cross doing well here. Going to have probably a singles run at some point. But for now, he was in the hot seat and just take a loss. We have our women's triple threat tournament. And unfortunately, Tessa Blanchard does still win. We have Tessa, Thunder Rosa, and Kimberly. Tessa says that she's so confident that she could take all three of them, and proceeds to do so. Again, building up Tessa a little bit. You can't have her lose in a triple threat like this necessarily without her looking a little weak. So we kind of give her another win, let her build up those defenses so that when someone goes over her, it'll be a really big deal. She carried the match in terms of in-ring performance, but honestly, Thunder Rosa and Kimberly weren't doing too bad either. And we gain heat with the Tessa Blanchard Top of the Mountain storyline. This was a work the crowd match, but they actually were already hot early, which kind of hurt the pacing. It probably would have been like a 47. Overall, though, I'm not too upset about a 45. It's pretty good. This doesn't do as good. We have a segment just backstage. We see Kevin and Von Erich showing up to watch Ross and Marshall's big match and kind of giving them a little bit of strategy after hugging both of them. He could have got a bigger pop, but his popularity, I was looking at it, is mostly Mid-South, so kind of hurt us a little bit. I think that's not quite right, because I feel like most people know the Von Erichs at this point, so I feel like it should have been, I think he's set at like 20 popularity, which just, I don't know. It seems a little weird to me, especially, like, I don't know, I feel like he should be 40 across the board, but I feel like people know the Von Erichs, but maybe I'm too much in my bubble. He gets a very good rating for his legend gimmick, though. We lose some heat with the legacy storyline, and it's a poor segment. Flip and Colt have their cage match. They're about evenly matched, but for a while, the Colt have been interfering with Flip Gordon's attempts to deconvert Colt Cabana, and this is the big moment. Can Flip do it? Unfortunately, no. Colt Cabana, the power of the Colt Josephus is just too strong, and even one-on-one, Flip loses in the cage match by submission. We end the Colt Cabana storyline here. We got the crowd buzzing. They were real hot for this match. Flip had a 46. Colt had a 47. Ended the segment at a 47. And afterwards, we had the cage open up and Josephus telling Colt Cabana to drag Flip to the back. So it seems like not only did Flip lose, he's now being abducted by the Colt. This does okay. It's, it is what it is. 40. The match everyone wanted, it could have been better. Scott Steiner is very upset about this match. It is a Shoney's Showdown match. Danhausen shows up in the parking lot of Scott Steiner's Shoney's to challenge him. It's assumed that Warhorse is filming it. And the match, and he has a ref for some reason, and the match commences, and they fight all throughout the parking lot and into the Shoney's, until eventually Danhausen does eke a win out over Scott Steiner, and wins the Shoney's championship. We lost heat for the Hungry for Shoney's storyline, actually. They had pretty good chemistry, which is interesting. And Tim Storm was subbing in as a road agent and kind of struggled here. Testing him out to see how his road agent ability would be. It didn't go very well. It cooled fans a little bit. We wanted to kind of cool them down between the cage match, so it's not quite a comedy match, but just a little bit more of a slower pace kind of vignette sequence. Steiner had a 40, Danhausen had a 33, but Danhausen is now the Shoney's champion. After that, we go into a pretty wild brawl in I believe it was a I Quit match. No, it was a no DQ match. Brian Pillman and Josephus fighting pretty brutally. Pillman actually ends up cheating to win, to kind of just get a quick win in, because Josephus, kind of just to protect Josephus a little bit from this. But Josephus has a 23, Pillman has a 45. Again, Tim Storm struggling to put the match together, which hurt the overall segment. Pillman takes a stunt bump in this. It got the crowd real buzzing. It's a little weak, but that's mostly because Josephus' in-ring performance. This is probably going to be the last actual wrestling match we have of Josephus. And we're going to just kind of make him entirely a manager at this point. But we have this sort of final showdown. Afterwards, he is... Pillman's trying to continue to beat up Josephus, angry. He got that quick win, but it just wasn't satisfying enough. Grabs a chair and is going to kill him, and he does sort of the Bray Wyatt thing. Josephus stretches his arm out like a cross, telling Pillman to end him. Pillman hesitates, but then swings. But mid-swing, the lights go out. As they come back on, the swing just goes through solid air, and Josephus has seemingly disappeared, though his laugh echoes through the auditorium. So he kind of vanishes. He managed to abduct Flip earlier, but this loss kind of sees him disappearing. And that's kind of just settle the idea that maybe he's done with the in-ring competition, and now he's just going to be a manager for a growing stable of a cult. Again, Tim Storm struggling with these angles. We are going to take him off of road agent completely. He cannot road agent to save his life. Speaking of Tim Storm, this is part of Tim Storm's last ride. We got the ladder match between Eli Drake, Tim Storm, and Eddie Kingston, with the North American Championship, the Alliance title that Tim Storm says means so much, that Eli's disrespecting, a goal that Eddie Kingston desperately wants to prove himself, hanging up in the rafters for the ladder to be grabbed. It's a pretty okay match. It's 46, which all things considered, differences between them, is not too bad. Got the crowd hotter. It's actually Tim Storm who defeats the two of them. After the two of them kind of slug each other through nonsense, Tim Storm's able to get up the ladder and retrieve the item and win. He was struggling. Obviously, he's retiring. It's getting hard. But Tim Storm's last ride, he gets to be the Alliance champion. So that's sort of going to be his swan song of being the Alliance champion here. Gets a match rating of 46, which not too bad. Afterwards, he celebrates on top of the ladder, holding the title. It does all right. Nothing really crazy to say about the segment. We have Von Erichs versus Contra Unit for the tag team titles. Contra Unit fought so hard to get here, now have a contract with the NWA, now have an opportunity to defeat the Von Erichs, but they do not. The Von Erichs actually defeat Contra Unit through some shenanigans. Marshall Von Erich pins Joey Machete after a distraction from his father, who's at ringside. He distracted Machete, and they make defense number 1 of their world tag titles in this save. Obviously, they have several wins in the 2016 version of this save. They've probably been our longest tag team now, with maybe about 3 or 4 defenses, I want to say. And they do pretty okay. Marshall, the weak link, Ross 42, Jacob Fatu 56, Joey Machete 37. We gain heat for the storyline. Tim Storm, unfortunately, doing a little bit of bad road agent work, and this one's interesting. So we might have to change Kevin's manager alliance or alignment here, because he is set as a heel. I guess I just overlooked that, though. I mean, this was a pretty heel thing to do, but basically they kind of cheat to win a little bit to get that championship. They kind of plant the seeds of, is Kevin Von Erich a bad influence on the Von Erichs, and are they going to turn heel and become heel champions for the tag team titles, because they should not have won. But through cheating and distractions, they did. Afterwards, they look shocked at his dad, but ultimately they decide to celebrate anyways. I should not have put them off script. They had very bad improv. Again, I always forget that even when they're set for entertainment, they have a script, and it does not default to scripting anymore. The default's to off script, which is very annoying. Because we got a penalty when we shouldn't have. Not that this segment was going to do very high segment anyways, but I kind of expected like a 30-33. Ultimately, though, Von Erich celebrate a win, and I'm sure we will have a lot to hear about it in the next Power, because I'm sure Contra Unit are pretty pissed. In our main event, we got Brody Lee versus Miro. It's a 54, not too bad. This was an I Quit match, and ultimately the Eastern Bloc machine that is Miro defeated Brody Lee in an I Quit match by submission and wins the heavyweight title. They're both about evenly in-ring performance. In terms of performance, about even. Got the crowd buzzing. Ends the show on a pretty high note, and makes a hell of a introduction from debut to champion. And now, in a lot of ways, Billy Corgan, who's trying to still kind of wrestle control, now has a champion in his corner that he personally scouted that will make for some high stakes to try to get control of the company if he's in his corner. So kind of an interesting dynamic. Brody, he's held it for a bit. It's kind of a short reign, but I wanted to give it to Miro. I have other plans for Brody. I think we can find him a place in the NWA. Ultimately, kind of give him something else to do for a bit. But I think Miro is the right call for our champion right now. It'll be interesting to see what we kind of play with. I got some ideas of how we're going to play with this dynamic. Obviously, they'll probably have a rematch at some point. But yeah, so I thought it would be kind of interesting. Gets us at a 54. Let's see what our final show result is. It's 51. Not bad. Increased in all 24 regions that debuted on it, or that premiered on the show for us. Not too bad. Probably could have got a 53 if some of these angles worked a little bit better, but most of the matches were pretty consistently solid for us. And we had a full sellout at 1,500 people, which is awesome. Let's go ahead and make a speech. I want to kind of cool Scott Steiner a little bit, because he's a little upset. Just kind of give him something. And then, who else was a little upset with us? Trying to remember now. There was somebody else that was a little upset with us. Oh, I think it was Eli Drake. We'll give him a hug. All right, we got some mail. Let's see what this is. We've got our expiring deal that we have to deal with. Miro's got a opinion about Marty Bell. Does not like her. So we had 4,200 viewers and a buy of 0.01. It's not great, unfortunately, but it is what it is. We definitely have some big morale issues with Steiner here. Steiner, why don't we give you a bonus or something? What's your pay? Throw some money at him and he'll be quiet. 1,300 a show. Not happy with NWA. Okay, we'll take care of you. Okay, we'll take care of you. Don't worry. I should have asked him to, as a favor, to maybe take the pin, but he was a little upset. Here, his thing's a show. Let's just say, give you a $4,000 bonus. You happy? You very happy at that? You're still annoyed. Okay. Well, maybe we'll give him 1 month paid time off too. Just keep him off the show for a little bit. There he is. He's pleased at that. Still annoyed, but he'll be off the show for a little bit. He'll be okay. That's fine. Because we'll let him take a little bit of vacation as Danhausen converts the Shoney's championship into God knows what. It's whatever the hell Danhausen ends up actually doing with it. Overall, in terms of Eli Drake has some morale issues. He's a little annoyed. Actually, he's furious at being booked at that. We'll throw some money his way too. We'll just burn cash just to give him a bit of a boost. There, he's happy now. Done. Apparently, that's all you actually need to do. And we don't care about that. All you have to do to make people happy is just throw money their way, and they will be fine with your booking decisions. So that is what it is, I suppose. Now, broadcasting, like I said, our event, we still have to get a new broadcast for our show. We want coverage in the U.S. We don't care what type. Right now, the problem with the YouTube is that it's a commercial internet at tiny. We're not getting a lot of airplay. But the problem is that even these companies, like very small is still bigger than tiny. Small is definitely bigger. But the deals that we would get are not great. So if you want to look at power here, let's just say a 6-month contract. They're pretty much not willing to give us anything. We would have to take an afternoon just to be on it. They would want a exclusive rights, which is fine. That's not a big deal. Minimum quality is 43. But only 10%. So they would only let us get 25% to our company, which is not a lot when I think our current deal is like 50 for YouTube. What's our current? Extend deal. Our current deal is 55% early evening. Don't know if we could get prime time. No. So we would still be at early evening. Could we even get more? So we would have to spend cough up some money at some point to get that revenue share. I don't really want to have to pay anything honestly, is kind of the problem. So what we were looking at was maybe Mav. Mav has... It's very small, right, in terms of its coverage, which is fine. It's bigger than what we're at now. We would have to go with late night, which we have a lot of shows in the time period, which is a problem. Or late evening. There's less shows we have to compete against. I think we can get 30%. Yeah, so we could get 30%. It's not too bad. I'm thinking of even just doing like a 3 month or 6 months just to keep it on there. Let me know what you guys think. We'll probably do it at a certain point, maybe a next episode. Fight is also very tiny in terms of pay-per-view, but I'm probably going to keep it on there just because I don't think there's much better pay-per-view services that we're even able to get. And then obviously we have these situations of just not being able to really show much anywhere. We could do multiples because we could have this in America, and then we could do in Canada a different promotion, that kind of thing. So we have to look at it. We might look at it in the beginning of next episode, just to see who and what we really want to broadcast on to try to get the most that we can get out of it. Right now, financially, we're not doing too bad, but we definitely want to have more eyes. I would care more about the eyes on us than I would about making the money. And even a deal of like $2,500 wouldn't be too bad a show if it meant getting a lot more eyes on the product to move us up faster. Let me know what you guys think, if you guys got ideas. And chat me up on Discord when this goes up, so that I can kind of talk through our plans here and see what we like to do. Alright guys, thanks for joining me. I will see you next time for another episode of Billy Corgan's NWA.